Dan, what stands out to you about this offseason or the progress that you made this year?
I've been really happy with this team. The thing that's a little bit different this year is we have really, really good internal leadership, and we've got some guys that have, they look at, I think, the lack of production last year across the board and what our overall record was, and they're determined to come out and play at a championship level. So I've been really pleased with just the leadership. Each and every day, guys, they work hard to make adjustments. We've had a great attitude, and so I'm excited about the start.
What have you seen in specific, the internal leaders you just mentioned?
Good question, but I'm not going to answer it. we have a group, okay, and like I've never named a captain because I think sometimes it puts undue pressure on people. I think people lead in different ways, and it's different people on different days. So to say it's one or two people, it's not. It depends on the situation, what's going on, if it's a pitcher's group, if it's a team group, if it's an offensive group. Somebody's stepped up and take the bull by the horns and gotten things going the right direction. So it's more of a group effort, which is good. One or two people can be positive, but when you have a whole group that's going the same direction, it's really a positive for us.
Does your roster, Dan, maybe have a little bit more veterans to it, especially maybe in your everyday lineup, excite you a little bit just because they know what college baseball's like?
Yeah, it gives you some comfort when you have some veteran players. The veteran players that we have, I think, have all made adjustments, and I think they're better players this year, which is also comforting. But it's always interesting, and I was talking to some of the young coaches and some of the younger people we have on the staff and our managers about, the first day when we take batting practice, we'll have some guys that are young that are deer in headlights, and it takes them a little bit of time just to kind of settle down. When you have that older group and a number of guys that one can go out and perform at a high level because they've been there, and then also help those young guys, it's comforting. So excited about having an older group.
What holes in the offseason did you feel like you guys needed to fill, and how did you go out and do that?
Well, recruiting changes, each and every year with transfer portal and NIL. So you never know exactly what your roster is going to be. I thought we did a good job of going out and really upgrading the pitching staff, which was important to us. We have a few good additions on offense. But the major thing is just the change. Last year I said that I was concerned about our new facility and all the technology, because sometimes players get in a mode where they're worried about the technology and the numbers, and that was us last year. We didn't compete. We were so worried about launch angle and velocity and spin rate and different things that we literally didn't go out and compete the way we needed to, and I made sure that didn't happen this year. And so I'm excited about that. Guys understand what the numbers mean. They saw how they can be productive for us, and they saw how they can hurt us. And I'm really excited about the adjustments that we've made from last year. And so that was one of the biggest things that we wanted to make sure happened in the off season.
Also in the off season, the NCAA added that rule to add, I believe, one or two more assistant coaches full time to the roster. How has that kind of helped you guys this off season?
Well, we were allowed to hire Kirk Courtwright full time. Basically, he'd been a volunteer coach here for 5 or 6 years and done a great job. So it's nice that that one, you can pay him the way he should be paid now. He's got benefits, and it's good for college baseball. So I wouldn't say that and I'm saying as a whole, we didn't really pick up a new coach, but we're able to treat them the way they need to be treated or should be treated based on the amount of work they do. So I'm excited about that.
Was stacking the schedule early with teams like a number one Wake Forest something you did intentionally?
Always. We always play really good teams. I think it's important to go out and challenge your guys. The thing that I talk to them about all the time is we don't need to go to Wake Forest to beat them. We need to be in a situation where people come into a game and they're working to beat us because we do things the right way. So we'll always play good schedules as long as I'm here. And we have Wake Forest first weekend. We have Coastal Carolina second weekend. We have Florida State the third weekend, and then we have Tennessee. And the other teams we play are good. And I had that conversation with our guys yesterday. We can't worry about Wake Forest. We have one game and one pitch to worry about, and that's the first pitch against Akron on Friday.
Dan, where do you and Mark feel like you stand on the mound right now as you head into this year? Especially since last 2 years you've had a Friday night guy get drafted in Cole and then in Riley.
When you have change on the mound, some new guys, there's always a little bit of a learning process. And so there's some things we need to learn over the next couple weekends. I feel good, though. We have 6 guys right now that we've extended out as starters. Some of those guys will end up in the bullpen as long relievers. You never know. One could end up a closer. You don't know that. But I feel really good about the progress we've made on the mound, and we'll see how guys perform. It's always interesting. We get to a point, I think you can ask any coaches, you get to a point during the year leading up to the season when you just need to play. It's not that guys don't listen, but they think they're ready, and they sometimes have blinders on. You always find out things about each individual once they face a different color uniform, and so it's time to see a different color uniform, see how guys go out and perform, and what kind of composure they have and how they compete.
Specifically, individually, it's Jack's senior year. Do you feel like there's been a step that's been made for him and that he knows this is his last year and he's got to make something of it?
Yeah, I think Jack knows the things that have held him back, and I think he's made some adjustments and worked hard at that. It's been incremental, which it usually is with young guys
Right.
or young people, right? It just takes time for them to understand what it takes to be successful over a long haul and for an entire season. I feel good about what he's done. He's listened and he's worked hard in some areas and is in a great frame of mind. So hopefully he can stay healthy and go out and have a great year for us.
So in these first competitions of the season, will you kind of let the game dictate your pitching strategy or be more strict with arms on the pitch count?
We're always strict on a pitch count. I can sit here and tell you some of the older guys you could go to 80 or 85 pitches, but it's all going to depend on how efficient they are. If you have a 20 pitch inning the first inning, that's going to cut back on the number of pitches. So we'll have a strict pitch count, but it's going to depend on the flow of the game and how much pressure's on them. If you have base runners all over the place, that's a little bit more high stress, and it's going to cut down on the innings and the number of pitches. So it's not an exact science. A little bit of feel goes with it. Some of it will depend on the individual and what their history is, and are they an older guy that's a little bit stronger? So there's a lot goes into it, but we'll never overthrow anybody.